Welcome back, builders, to the Foundry by Forge College. So in our last explainer, we mapped out the intricate architecture of ENS. But today, we're shifting gears from naming systems to identity. As part of our broader track on Web2 integration and API development on Solana, we are officially ditching the nightmare of passwords. We're going to map out the actual blueprints for wallet-based server authentication. You are looking at the ultimate explainer on implementing sign-in-with-Solana.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our patent blueprint for today. We'll be hitting 5 key sections. 1. The cryptographic bouncer. 2. Anatomy of a sign-in. 3. The REST API flow. 4. Coding the verification. And finally, section 5, the security checkpoint.
All right, let's kick things off with section 1, the cryptographic bouncer. To really grasp Web3 authentication, I want you to imagine trying to get into an incredibly exclusive club. In the Web2 world, the bouncer at the door demands your ID or maybe a secret password. And honestly, you just have to blindly trust that bouncer not to steal your identity, copy your password, or lose it in some massive database breach. It's a pretty terrifying exchange of sensitive secrets when you really think about it. But the Web3 bouncer? Well, they don't care who you are, and they definitely don't want your secrets. Instead, they hand you a unique, randomized mathematical puzzle. You step aside, solve it in secret using your private key, and hand back just the solution. The bouncer checks your math without ever seeing your key. It's pure proof of control.
And you know that unique puzzle the bouncer just handed you? Cryptographers call that a nonce. It literally stands for a number used once. It's basically a randomized token paired with a timestamp. Now this is absolutely crucial because it bounds the validity window of your sign-in. Think about it. If the bouncer used the exact same puzzle every single night, some lurker could just copy your previous answer and sneak in tomorrow. The nonce ensures your math is only valid for that specific moment, completely killing replay attacks.
Moving right along to section 2, anatomy of a sign-in. Let's look at the 4 raw materials that actually make up this authentication blueprint. We start with the challenge, that's the nonce we just talked about, that prevents replay attacks. But look right below that at the message. Instead of forcing users to sign a terrifying string of random hexadecimal characters, the challenge is actually embedded into human-readable text. It explicitly states the user's intent, saying something like, sign this message to log in. This is a huge deal for protecting users from phishing right there in their wallet UI. Finally, the wallet generates the signature, the actual cryptographic proof, and passes it along with the address. The address is just the public key used by the server to verify that the math is correct. Just so we're all on the exact same page, that signature standard is ED25519. On Solana, it's a specific, highly secure cryptographic curve that binds a message to a public key. And we format this data in base 58. Base 58 is native to Solana, and it smartly removes visually confusing characters, like a capital O versus the number 0. So whenever we talk about signatures and addresses today, just remember, they are ED25519 proofs wrapped up in friendly base 58 text.
Next up, section 3, the REST API flow.
So here is the perfect 3-step flow in action. Step 1, the client makes a GET request to the /auth/challenge endpoint. The server creates that fresh randomized nonce, stores it temporarily, and sends it down. Step 2, the client receives that challenge, formats it into our human-readable message, and prompts the user's wallet to sign it. The user clicks Approve. Step 3, the client takes that resulting signature and posts it right back to the server at /auth/verify. The server grabs the signature, decodes it, checks it against the challenge it issued in step 1, and if the math checks out, boom, it issues a secure session token. It is a really elegant, stateless little dance. And this brilliantly illustrates one of the absolutely most important concepts for your users: 0 transactions, 0 funds moved. This entire REST API flow is purely about identity verification via off-chain signatures. When a user clicks sign in this specific flow, they're not interacting with a smart contract, they're not paying gas fees, and absolutely no Solana tokens are at risk. It's completely free, read-only authentication.
Which brings us to section 4, coding the verification. Let's look at the backend.
So how do we actually write this bouncer in code? Well, if you're building an Express.js backend, your verify endpoint relies on a few core mechanics. First, you're going to require tweet-knuckle. That's the engine handling the heavy lifting of the ED25519 verification. Next, you need BS58 to decode the Solana strings back into raw byte arrays. Your server then checks if the incoming message matches the exact challenge string it stored earlier. If the bytes align and tweet-knuckle gives the green light, your server drops the velvet rope and returns a session token.
Of course, in the real world, things go wrong. Your code needs to handle common failure modes robustly. The request might be missing fields entirely, or a user might send malformed base 58 data that will literally crash your decoder if you don't wrap it in a try-catch block. Or maybe the signature just doesn't match. Here's a pro tip for you. When these failures happen, just return minimal 400 or 401 HTTP error codes. A good bouncer just crosses his arms and says no. He doesn't hand the rejected guest a detailed blueprint of the club's internal security system, right? Keep your error responses concise and totally opaque. All right, our final stop, Section 5, Security Checkpoint. Let's lock it down.
Now, I want you to really consider this scenario. What if someone intercepts the signature while it's in transit between the client and the server? If an attacker gets their hands on a perfectly valid, mathematically correct signed message, couldn't they just send it to your server themselves and log in as the victim? Well, this is the core of a replay attack, and it's exactly why our cryptographic bouncer needs a very, very short memory. To neutralize that threat, we have to implement some precise security mitigations. First, that challenge we issue, it needs a very short validity window. We are talking minutes here, not hours. Second, and this is the big one, single-use challenges. The literal microsecond your Verify endpoint successfully validates a signature, it must delete that nonce from its database or cache. If you delete the nonce immediately upon success, an intercepted signature becomes totally useless to an attacker because the server will simply say, hey, I have no record of this challenge. And finally, you definitely want to rate limit the endpoint that generates the challenges to prevent malicious bots from overwhelming your server's memory. So the crucial point is this. The mechanism is purely cryptographic verification, but the implication is an authentication token the server can confidently associate with an address. We've spent this explainer looking at elliptic curve math, nonces, and byte arrays. But the end result, the true implication of all this engineering, is simply a secure, passwordless login session that your application can actually trust. Which leaves us with one final provocative question as we scale our apps. How do we manage long-lived API credentials alongside these incredibly short-lived wallet sessions? Like, if the wallet signature is just the front door, how do we handle backend server-to-server access? That is the exact architectural puzzle you'll tackle in the next phase of your learning. To explore that and to dive deeper into all things Web3, head over to forge.college. We've got a massive library of resources waiting for you there. Thank you so much for joining me today for this Foundry Explainer. Keep building, and I will see you in the next one.